Here we are.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi, you guys.
Hey, James. Hi, Julie.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Our pleasure.
So after our talk the other day, I was really excited about this session in our virtual show. I really enjoyed it, and I think our audience is going to love it too. So why don't you kick it off, Hannah?
Yeah, James, can you tell us a little bit about growing up in Southern California and all the surfing you used to do?
We've got a theme. Actually, it's Northern California, but yeah, my mother I was telling Eric yesterday, my mother put me in the water when I was 3 years old. I learned how to swim in a swimming pool. When I got to be 5, she took me to the ocean and cast me into the waves because she wanted to make sure I was a brave little child. She didn't want me to be afraid. So I learned how to manage that, and she was a big influence on me.
That's awesome.
Well, we're going to learn a little bit about both of you tonight, but we're going to start with James. And James, I want to thank you for your service in the military. I know you're a Vietnam vet, and
thank you.
Yeah, and when you got home from that, it kind of kicked you in the butt to go travel. Why don't you tell us a bit about your travels there?
Well, sort of typical story, the Vietnam vet comes home and you don't come home anymore. There's really no place to come back to. So I just took off. First, a friend of mine came and got me, and we spent a year touring around California in his Volkswagen bus, camping out and going to the beach, and I was surfing and he was playing, and I ended up down in the Virgin Islands. California just got so cold one winter. I went, I got to get warm. So I ended down in the Caribbean for a couple of years, actually working for a native construction company, rebuilding waterworks on the island. And I surfed all alone at a place called Hull Bay, which was a big, long bay, a long paddle out. But I spent a couple of years down there and I really had a great time and saved my money, bought a sailboat, sailed to New York, sold it, went to Europe, traveled around Europe myself, ended up in India, and I got homesick, came back to California to go to art school.
Where'd you go to art school?
Well, my senior year of high school, I actually went to Oakland Arts and Crafts as a senior in high school. When I came back, I went to Cabrillo College, actually it's a junior college, but I did the arts program, and it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about how all of that relates to your art today?
Well, as you know, as I was telling Eric yesterday, and you too, came back from Vietnam, really had my whole mindset has changed, and I really got interested in avant-garde German art for some reason. World War I era German art, post-World War II German art, because I was relating to these post-World War II German artists who were actually trying to take German art and German culture into a new direction. And I just felt very akin to these people because that's where I found myself. And I think I did the first drip paintings of my college, and so I was avant-garde and I say experimenting early.
So as we're talking, if anybody in the audience wants to see James and Julie's work, you just go to 1228 Parkway Art Space, and you'll see it. And there's only 52 or 54 exhibitors on our site, and you can scroll through and see it. You guys did a great job setting up your booth. It looks fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a lot of fun to do. It's an interesting way that you're doing this. I really like it.
Oh, good. James, if you slide over to your right a little bit, we're going to see that piece behind you.
It's incredible.
That's awesome. That's a big piece.
That piece is got 80 by 60, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
Wow,
that's
yeah.
some perspective there. That's
Uh-huh.
awesome. Yeah. I love that.
You both have very interesting backgrounds. Julie, I know you were a criminal defense lawyer. Am I right?
I was for many years, and I had a circuitous route back to my art because I was a child painter, basically. My mother had a lot of abstract expressionist books around the house when I was young, because that was in vogue at the time, and I kind of painted that way in elementary school, it was not very well received, the kind of drippy, big abstract type paintings from a 5 and 6-year-old. And then I, went to college and law school. I didn't think I would be able to make it as an artist. So I thought, well, I'll take the practical approach. And then, when my kids were little, I painted with them in the garage, did all those kind of projects. And then I always had a hankering. I wanted to paint. I just couldn't do it, but I wanted to. And then James was hired to be a contractor at my home to do some remodeling. And he basically sensed that I was a suppressed painter. And toward the end of the project, he came over one day with some pieces of wood and some acrylic paint and some paintbrushes. And we got started that way. And we still have in the studio the first painting that I did that afternoon. So that was kind of the start of things. And then, one thing led to another. And about a year after that, we kind of ran away from home and came to Santa Fe and set ourselves up as painters.
How long have you been in Santa Fe?
We have been here exactly 18 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Long
And we've
time.
had this studio that we're in right now for 12 years.
Wow.
It's a nice big warehouse space kind of in Midtown in an industrial area. And it's actually, even though we have 1,700 square feet, it's not big enough. We're kind of running out of room for both of us and our big paintings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
have
paint.
big pieces for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You know
that's
What's kind of interesting as we talk about this a lot is we didn't really know what kind of painters we were going to be when we started.
Right.
And so we thought, well, this is kind of like our history go, what if one of us would have really been a bad painter and the other painter would have really been brilliant? And it turns out, I think we're both good painters and we both are, abstract painters and experimental, and we've really pushed ourselves along as a couple. We've challenged each other, we criticize each other,
Or side by side in the studio.
we complain together.
Yeah. We paint next to each other, and one person's always looking at the other one, what they're doing and commenting.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
But that's how we started. And we started, we did not know what we were going to do or how good we were going to be. Although I'd been to art school and Julie was,
Yeah, I
Julie
had
was a
taken some
talented
classes.
child painter. So we did go with that. But here we are 20 years later, still side by side, literally right now.
Yeah.
You guys are compatible and your paintings are compatible as well. I remember walking through Art San Diego, seeing both of your pieces kind of next to each other. You can tell that they're two different artists, but they connect very well.
It's funny, they always did from the beginning. They connected, even though we knew less what we were doing then, I think. And it was just sort of by happenstance that they connected, We're soulmates for sure, both in the studio and out.
We had good art teachers to begin with. We had good experiences going to
Workshops.
Very good, positive, exciting teachers. And I had a couple of mentors, one here in Santa Fe for 10 years I worked with, and so he influenced me a lot. And Julie's had some mentors too. So
which has been helpful.
Been helpful.
Yeah.
Well, I've been watching your work for years, and I was telling Hannah and Kelly yesterday after we talked, I said, their work has really matured over the last 4 years. I mean, the pieces that you have on our site are, to me, way better than the work you were doing, 4 or 5 years ago.
Well, for me, for both of us, we stopped doing our other career, and we have all the time in the world to devote to this. And we do. I mean, we don't really do a whole lot else. I teach workshops. We've been putting that together as an online program, during this pandemic. But now that I don't have to write briefs all day long, I mean, we're here in the studio. And James used to be, who's a contractor here too. He did construction work here, but he stopped doing that about 5 years ago. So we're able to really walk the walk and live it day in and day out.
I bet.
Yeah, I would say. And it does take a long time to work on your craft. what's that saying? You got to put in 10,000 hours to
Mhm.
become a master, you know, and it takes a long time just searching around for your own unique voice. And I think maybe a lot of other artists relate to this. It takes a long time to have confidence in your own uniqueness, you know,
Yeah.
and what you're producing, and just let it be and stay with that. And I think we've both bounced around a lot.
To
Trying
some
to find
degree,
out.
yeah. We've tried out different styles, we've tried different themes and that kind of thing. But you know, the big thing is we do a lot of paintings. We're really prolific. We probably each paint between 80 and 100 paintings a year.
Mhm.
Wow.
You know, I mean, I was doing that when I was still working part-time as a lawyer too. So, I mean, that means we're here like all the time and just pumping them out and repainting, you know, all that, and evaluating and scrapping some. But the more you do it, the better you get.
Yeah. No, your work's, it's great.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate you being here with us this evening, and hopefully this pandemic ends soon and Santa Fe can open their doors again.
I
dear.
know this town has been shut down for like a long time. You know,
Yeah.
we rely upon visitors to come and liven it up and go to galleries and all that, but it's pretty empty.
I think we'll be producing Art Santa Fe in July of 2021 though. So
Okay,
I'm
great.
Great. We'll
All
see you
right,
guys
we'll
then.
see you then.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having
thanks
us.
for having us.
Yeah, and make sure to all the attendees that you check out their booths for sure. They have some incredible
Right.
people.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot, you
Thanks.
guys.
All right.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.